Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Good Buddies Anime Show. I am your good buddy Roger, and today I'm doing something a little different. Brandon's not here. He didn't watch When They Cry Gal. I did. I'm a big fan of the When They Cry original anime, so I was stoked when this started airing back in October, and it just finished up, so I thought I would do a somewhat little review or a little discussion about it. There will be some minor spoilers in here, so if you don't want to get any of that or catch anything from that, go ahead and turn it off now. But if you do want to talk about it and do want to have a discussion, please hit us up in the comments. I'd love to read what everybody has to say, and I'll go ahead and get started. Higurashi, When They Cry Gal, or New as it was originally advertised as, is a direct sequel to Higurashi no Nakakoro ni and Kai, which are the first two seasons. They can be found in at least a couple of formats. The anime from 2006 is what I'm familiar with. I admittedly was suckered into this as a remake like most others, and I was certainly surprised when it revealed itself as a sequel series. I was stoked to see what new wrinkles this story had to offer, trying my hardest to crack the code as to why Rika was looping over and over. Gal has a fresh new coat of paint on it from Paperdoll, and overall, after a bit of adjusting to the softer, less sharp designs of the characters, I really enjoyed it. The backgrounds were lush and had an almost watercolor appeal in some scenes, and the characters were far less janky than in the original anime done by Studio Dean, which I still have a fondness or a sense of nostalgia for. The show looks good. It also sounds good. Those cicadas are still crying, and though it's not as impressive and as apparent as in the original, they found a pretty perfect blend. The show has an excellent opening and closing theme, and they do have changes here and there as the story progresses, including visual changes as well. I liked it. Good. Got it. As far as the story goes, it's mostly great, to the point that I only have a couple of nitpicks, but overall I was engrossed by each episode. They flew by and I could not wait for the next week's round. There's a lot more character development, especially when the scenarios Rika is living through, again, are having key differences in outcomes. There are outright different killers, and sometimes even though the original solution is played out properly that would solve the original arc and some of the loops they're based around, the character still loses their marbles. It's wild, well written, and pays great attention to detail from the original work. It does a great job of cluing you back in on parts that may have slipped your mind from your last watch of the original, if it was a while back like it was for me, and then jerking away what you remembered and turning everything on its head. Speaking of what you may or may not remember, I'll get this out of the way and let you know that one of my aforementioned nitpicks of the show is the final sequences of the arcs. As the characters are losing it, the crazy distortions and expressions on their face that you got in the Studio Dean version are way toned down in Gal. I kind of miss that aspect, as these children were essentially morphed into monsters as they committed monstrous acts. It just seems like an odd omission that I think generally everyone liked from the original run. Definitely the best part of the original animation. Not to say Gal doesn't lean into the horror of these scenes, it does. And it even has some great vocal changes and uses of silence that I really enjoyed. There's also one instance early on of censorship, which is fine, I get it, the show is violent, but it's so weird that there is one scene and maybe one other that I could be forgetting that is censored, and far more graphic scenes that are left uncensored. I'm not complaining, as I certainly do want the least censorship possible in the show, as some scenes would have to be omitted visually or blocked entirely. Overall, I honestly say that Gal is far more graphic than the original when it comes to violence and gore. It cranks the knob way past 11 parts. Personally, I'm not that fazed by it, but if you are, I get it. You might not want to watch the scene where Rika wakes up in pain and Satoko is out doing a bit of gardening. It's gross. My final verdict on this one is that if you are a fan of the original show, do not miss it. It's great and has so many amazing aspects of the original being flipped, adding in a whole new mystery that it's just fun, dark, and engaging as its predecessor. If you haven't seen the original and you think you might like a horror-filled mystery full of children ripping each other apart as another run through time loops over and over to stop the carnage and save their friends, watch it and then watch Gal. Not only do I think the original is necessary, but if you have the amount of free time to hit the series back to back, you'll probably catch a lot more than I did and have an even better time with Gao. Now, if you're anything like me and only watch the original When They Cry seasons, I'd be remiss not to address the elephant in the room. There seems like there needs to be some additional reading from Umineko, which is set in the same universe as When They Cry, both of which are by Ryukishi 07. There's at least one character introduced that looks like a big tall Rika or Hanyu that has a scene talking about an anomalous spinal cord specimen and rattling off names towards another character like they should know what it means, and they don't. I don't. I'm certainly hoping for some clarification on that in the continuation of Gao that was announced called When They Cry Satsu. I've seen a lot of folks talking about the connections with this character and that scene in particular to Umineko, which I've always wanted to check out, but from my understanding, the anime adaptation is rush trash, and the game is 58 hours of visual novel long for the question arcs. And the answer arcs are an additional 53 hours. Man, they got me messed up. Who has the time to go through that? I really hope that they are going to cover more of this in Satsu, which as of this recording, they haven't announced how long that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a movie. I don't know if it's going to be a mini series. I don't know if it's going to get a full 24. My guess is Satsu is going to get 12. I feel like 12 is probably a good length and they can cover the rest of the show and fill in all the plot holes with the 12. But I'm not going to complain if it gets 24. So at this time, guys and gals, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out for full review and podcast episodes with Good Buddy Brandon uploaded on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. Thanks so much and catch you guys and gals later. Love you.